Absolutely phenomenal morning, guys. Listen, I am your host, Sean East, flanked as always by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson, and this is your Breakfast with the Brand. This is your Breakfast with the Brand, guys. Listen, I want to ask you a question today. Something was really on my mind today. I want to ask everybody a question. Just put it in the chat, put it in the comments. What is your specialization? What is your specialization, right? What is your core competency? If we were to boil everything down to one thing, what is it that you do? What is it that you do, right? Because everybody's revenue focused, right? Everybody's on the numbers. And I agree with you 1000%. This is a numbers question. This is a numbers question, Bobby. The specialization piece is a numbers question. You might as well look at it as ones and zeros because your quantity, the value, the revenue, the numbers, the quantity will be based on the quality of the individual and the quality of clarity. And most people that I work with, this is the number one problem. The number one problem, back to ones and zeros and numbers, right? We're going from 2023 to 2024. What's that? A change of numbers. So let's look at the numbers. Let's put the numbers under the microscope and let's really get to the ones and zeros. Who are you? What is the main thing that you do? What is your core competency and what vertical are you a leader in? Let's start with the base. Let's get down to ground zero, man. Let's get to the foundation of it. I'm going to show you how to make some money.
I can feel the energy. I can feel the energy this morning. Like somebody's... I remember we was on a call one time and you gave a instruction and somebody came back the next day with like 10K.
Yeah.
I remember that. So like, guys, I feel that type of energy. Like,
brother, let me tell you, hold on. Let me say something, Bobby, because this has happened multiple times, right? Go check out our testimonials. We have another young lady that came to day one of our challenge, came back with 15K, right? So I gave somebody a homework assignment. They went and accomplished the homework assignment, came back with 10K in their first client. I did a challenge for closing like a leader. First challenge, first day of the challenge, she left, came back with 15K, right? So when I tell you I'm going to help you make money, it's guaranteed. It's evidence-based. The question is, what is your degree of execution? So I tell people all the time, one thing, I say ROI is based on SOI. Your return on investment is based on the speed of implementation. So you can look at this as a regular podcast or someone else's stuff and just look at it as entertainment, like sports or something. Or you can actually execute on it and extract from it the value, implement it in the marketplace, and get an immediate return for your investment of time. Choice is yours.
Oh, man. And it's so crazy because it's almost like a gas pedal. That's what I feel like the brand is like sometimes for me. So when you have a car, you have no idea all the different things that happen when you press the gas. All you know is it goes. And I think that's what you can benefit from when you come to the branded like a leader, or when you come to the Breakfast with the Brand, is you can almost get like a gas pedal. Like all you have to do is do it. Like all you have to do is press the button and the whole vehicle moves. It's like, whoa, I don't even know mechanics, but it's moving. And that's what my first year was like. It was like, I don't know branding, I don't know marketing, I don't know any of this stuff. But I pushed the gas pedal. But for me, one thing that I wrote down for my specialization, many of you all know what it is finance. So in my specialization, I have finance. But another thing that this question made me think about is, who do you do it for? You know, I remember that being one of my tough ones. I had to decide, like, who's your ideal client? Who are you going to do this thing for? So that's another question that I think we'll probably brush on this morning. But I'm interested to see where this one goes, Coach. But finances for me, I love to see you guys put it in the chat. Some people have already started. One person said coaching professionals and entrepreneurs to find fulfillment in life. So if you know your specialization, please put it in the chat.
We're going to begin when we get back. I got a lot to give this morning, guys. I'm super excited. We're going to begin when we get back. I want you to pay attention. I want you to underline it. And I want you to put a question mark behind it. That's what I want you to do. Whatever you wrote down, I want you to underline it. And I want you to put a question mark behind it, because Is that the actual fact, or is it not? We're going to challenge assumptions today. We're going to challenge assumptions today, and I'm going to help you increase your revenue. Hopefully, if you're a heavy implementer, before the end of 2023. Let's go. There's slow growth, and then there's scale. There's incremental growth, and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 plus 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 plus 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 plus 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 plus 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
So, magic question. Here's the magic question. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? So for those of you who are late comers and just coming in, guys, I asked this very, very important question. Probably the most important question that you can answer in your business. The most important question that you could answer in your business right now. What is it that you really do? What is your core competency? Core competency, what you really do. And then the next best question is, how many people know about it? Who knows? How known are you? You cannot convince someone to do business with you if they don't know what you do. So watch this. What do I do? If someone was to ask you, what does Sean Rais really do? What does Sean do? What does the brand do? What do we do? What is our core competency? Put that in the chat. Right, guys? Hashtag replay squad. Put in the chat what we do, what I do, what my core deliverable is, and watch what happens. If you were to go live and ask people what you do, would they know? Because this is your revenue. This is your money. This is your money. Will they know? And then how many mechanisms, how many portals, how many platforms are you using to communicate your value? What are you doing all day? I guarantee you this. Anything we say will work here. This is evidence-based. This is not rah-rah. This is not hype. I'm not trying to make you feel good. I'm trying to help you get money and change your lives. That's what I'm trying to help you do. Now, a lot of people will go get money, but Bobby, realistically, like, have you had some times, some months where I wasn't your favorite coach?
Some years.
Yeah. Have you had some years where I wasn't your favorite person? Like, real talk. Be
Yes,
honest.
100%.
100%. You know why? Because I don't care how you feel. I don't. You didn't hire me to care about your feelings. You didn't hire me to be. I am not the coach of hugging. I am not the huggy coach. I am the coach. You hire me for one reason, and that is to increase, to add value. And the way I quantify value is not esoteric, it's economic. Oh, he's great. He really cares. Okay, great. But have you made money? Have you changed your revenue? Have you changed your bottom line? I like, I'm really energetic when I come to his events. Great. Has it changed your bottom line? What will happen a lot of times is we'll travel to different things and we'll be in front of people and we'll change our lives to fit someone else's pattern. And the way it changes the bottom line is revenue keeps leaving. You understand? So you want to make sure that when you're following someone or you're working with someone that it's going both ways at least. And then there has to be a time where what comes in overflows or is increased as opposed to what goes out.
Yes.
So when you think about me and you look into the comments, you're going to see where everybody knows what I do. Everybody knows what I do. And let me help you understand the depth. Let me help you understand the depth of what I really said. Let me help you unpack it. So when I said, I don't care how you feel, I don't care how you feel on a surface level. Because when you get past it, when you get past your initial emotion, because I'm a challenger coach. So when you get past your initial emotion, your initial resistance, you feel a world of time better. Because now you're able to take care of your family to a different level. Yeah. Now your family looks at you differently. Your confidence is increased. Your competence is increased. See, I understand that in order to build an omelet, you got to break some eggshells.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm the person who understands sometimes to set a bone, you got to break it. You got to re-break it to set it. So I understand, like, I have to disrupt your pattern to create a new pattern. And the pattern that you guys are trying to create is revenue creation. And it all begins with what you do at the core. That's what I care about. Clarity, consistency, conviction, enabling a better communication, a self-awareness, because that's what creates change, not the initial emotion, the initial resistance. Someone hears the price and they're like, oh, I don't like him. I don't like him. Someone sees, like, I'll tell people to come to an hour-long call and it'll turn around and be 3 hours. They're like, I don't like it. People's spouses be like, they'll see it leave, like, I don't like it. But as soon as it returns with friends, they're like, oh, I don't know. I kind of like that guy. Right?
Yeah,
tell a story, Bobby. Give an analogy of how this really works from being on the inside and on the back end. Watch this, guys.
Oh, man, this is so great because I was sharing this with my wife yesterday. I was like, I'm making a huge investment next year. She's like, what? I said, yeah. Go make sure your passport's good. Make sure mine is good. And I'm calling my mom. She's taking care of the kids and we're going to pay her. She's like, oh, all right, okay. Now, how do we get there? How do we start having this conversation? So what prompted this is I have been making what some would call reckless investments, but I call them bold investments. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I have the right coaching and the right information, and I execute, I'm going to get there. Like, no doubt in my mind. So I made bold investments. And what I thought was really, really interesting that a lot of you all might like is the first investment I made was like $6,000. That's not a lot of money. It's like $500, $500 a month, give or take. Now, what's interesting about this is my next investment was 400, and you might want to write this down, was 400% more than that. So 400% more than 6K. My revenue was 400% more. Listen, my investment was 400% more, and my revenue was 400% more. Then I made another investment the next year. This investment was 200% more, but my revenue was 400% more. And now the coming year, the next investment is projected to be 20% more, but my revenue is expected to be 400% more. I'm a finance guy, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I do the numbers. So when I took 6K, flipped that thing 400%, oh, I was like, let me do it again. Let me do it again. So I increased the investment 400%, got another 400% revenue growth. And then I was like, okay, this can't persist, in the sense that the amount of money that I'm investing and the rate in which my money is growing, my investment is going to start to be outpaced by my revenue. Because the investments can't, if my revenue keeps growing this fast, the investments can't keep up. So I made another investment and the revenue started to exceed it. And now that the investments are so large, it's almost like the percentage growth of the investment is pennies in comparison to the revenue that I'm getting in return. So my story, my success story, guys, has been, it's exponential. It's like, it's a doggone slingshot. You pull it back, you let it go, and it explodes. So that's been one of my experiences, and I got a lot of them, but I'll stop with that one, and just let Sean add some context or really take us in a different direction.
Let me add the context. Now the context is, watch this, guys. And this is kind of like self-flagellation, right? This is self-flagellation, but I want you to understand it. I really, really need you to understand it. How adored was my name in your home based on these initial investments?
Sean, we couldn't say your name at the dinner table. Your name was fighting words. Like we said, if your name came up, it got to the point that your voice, like if she heard me on a training, she just got sick, mad, like this dude taking all the money out of this house. Yeah. And now I'm like, get your passport. You heard me, get your passport.
Things change, guys. Things change. And watch this. It all boils down because what's the core deliverable that you've received in all of this time? The core, if you had to break it all down to one thing, what would the core deliverable be?
I'd say coaching, being coached.
That's the deliverable, but that's the methodology. What have you received from it? Pay attention, guys.
Yeah, and I've received so much. I would say clarity.
If you had to boil it all down to one thing, what would it be? And I have no idea what he's going to say, but I have a guesstimate.
If I had to boil it all down to one thing, oh my goodness. First thing that comes to mind is clarity. Like, that's the first thing that comes.
Boom. Don't stop right there.
Okay.
Stop right there. The first thing that comes to mind is clarity. So if clarity is the main deliverable, then through the power of clarity, that's how the revenue grew. That's how the 400% was realized. So I would be willing to wager that everyone on this call would love to have 400% revenue increase. I mean, if you could, I say add a zero. 400% is adding two of them. I say add a zero. 400% is adding 2 of them. I want you to understand this. I asked you a question in the very beginning. What is it that you do? This is clarity. When you understand this at the core level, the essential level, then you don't have any more messaging. There does not need to be any more messaging. We do personal brand leadership. Our methodology and our vehicle of delivery is speaking, coaching, consulting. Please understand this, because you guys got the methodology mixed up with the deliverable and the outcome and the features and benefits. You got it all mixed up. Clarity provides the platform from which all other things can grow and flourish. You want to do all of these things, and you want to travel, and you want to do retreats, and you want to, I get it. I promise you, I understand. Huge dreams, huge goals, but it all starts with one core. One core. Because if you're not clear, no one else is either, which reminds me of the second thing I asked you. How many people know? At the raw essence, what you really do. This is what you have to come to. A realization and a decision based on it. That's what Bobby has been able to do. And it has taken time. He's gotten clearer and clearer and clearer. And the closer he gets to that, the raw diamond. So watch this. It's been 400% revenue increase. Next year, it'll be more. That's a guarantee. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Now let me break this down a little bit more before I let Bobby just speak on his thoughts, because I'm sure there's a lot of energy in the room, right? You cannot put a price on clarity. You cannot put a price on clarity. And clarity is not stagnant. Clarity grows. So clarity at 25 is not clarity at 35. Like goals change. Clarity at 35 is not the same clarity as 45. Like morals and values. Those change as you evolve. Clarity is ever becoming. When you ask a person who is on their deathbed, what do they wish they would have done? When you ask a person who is sick and ailing, because that's when the rawest essence of clarity comes, guys, in your worst moments, at the most vulnerable intercessions, that's when the good clarity, it's like an aha moment. And when you ask them, I don't care, listen to me, they start off their statement with, I wish I would have known. Just think about that. If whether it's, I wish I would have known how important family was. I wish I would have done this differently because it was so important. When they say the money is not the important part, the family is. They say, I wish I would have known.
Wow. You know, I was listening to a book while I was working out. That's a nugget, by the way. We all have the same 24 hours is something that I've been told recently. We all have the same 24. And I was working out and I was listening to a book, and it was Mastery by Robert Greene. It's one that I plan to listen to all year 2024. And in this book, it talks about what it takes to become who you are, like who you really are. And it talks about the time it takes. It talks about the energy it takes. It talks about all these different things. So one thing that I'd like to put out there is this statement that comes to mind. You like whatever you're good at, and you're good at whatever you're doing all the time. That's something that I've learned. Like, you like whatever you're good at, and you're good at whatever you do all the time. And when we find ourselves trying to find ourselves, look at what you do all the time. And we might find that what we do most of the time isn't in alignment with who we believe we are. So if I were to really sit down and track how much time I say indulge entertainment, or how much time I'm frivolously spending time or money, all of these different things don't necessarily show up as who I'm supposed to be. So that's one thing to think about. But to go a little bit deeper into what my development has been like, what my process has looked like, so that you all can really think about your 2024 in a different way. I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned this year is the process of the process is a process. Now, what do I mean? The process of the process is a process. The first process is time. The second process is the journey. And the third process is the transformation. So the process of the process is a process. The time is a part of the process. The journey is a part of the process. And the transformation is the byproduct of the process. So when we say trust the process, one of the things we might really be saying is trust that the time you're spending is not wasted. Another thing we might be saying is trust that the journey that you're on is the journey you should be on. And the other thing that we might be saying is trust whatever you become through this process is what you were supposed to be. I was doing a meditation earlier, and it's a guided meditation, and the person talked about growth. They said a lot of people's definition of growth is getting rid of all of the person that they are today that does not align with their future, keeping all of the person that they like today, and getting as much of what they think they want. So I'll say that again. She was saying that most people's definition of growth is getting rid of all of the things about themselves that they don't like, keeping all of the things about themselves that they currently like, and getting more of the things that they think they want. But what she was saying is that that's an unrealistic and somewhat naivete way of looking at it. A more mature way of looking at growth is understanding that you're not going to know. The caterpillar doesn't know they're going to be a butterfly when they're a caterpillar. Like, what your process, when done properly, when you come out, you shouldn't be able to recognize yourself. Like, if you knew how you were going to look when you came out, you're probably still in the process. Because true growth, from my personal experience, is when you evolve. And in order to truly evolve, you have to become something you weren't, like you never really thought possible. And that's something I think is really interesting about the growth process. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it's like that. It's like that at times. It feels like, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I even doing this right? Does it really take that long? Does it take 5 years? I've been on this journey for 6 years. Like, does it really take that long? And I think if we take the process of the process is a process approach to growth and development, we'll find that it's a lot more fun to enjoy the process than try to, as Kendrick Lamar said, it's the name of an album. I won't use the album. It's not very derogatory, but it's a name of an album, and it references a butterfly. So Kendrick Lamar wrote an album that references a butterfly. And if you check out that album, it's a very insightful album about what it takes to grow and develop as a human being amidst all of the various challenges that you may be facing as a person. But those are some things that I've experienced this year. And if you take that approach, I think it'll be very beneficial to you in the coming years.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Very good. Very good. Guys, I hope you're learning from this. I know it's a little bit like when we have conversations, sometimes you have to speed yourself up to understand the conversation that we're having, because it's an evolved reality, right? It's an evolved reality. I know sometimes you're like, well, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. How does clarity play such a monetary impact? Like, how is the impact on something so simple? I always say that God is in the details. Most people say the devil is in the details. Well, he's there too. He's there too. But God is in the details. When you become clear, when you have that aha moment, that Zen moment of realization, that confidence that comes from clarity. Have you ever been lost? You ever been driving and wondered where you were at? You remember what it felt like when you realized where you were again? The feeling of ease, the feeling of comfort, the feeling of strength and empowerment, because you know where you're going and you can say, turn the GPS off, I'm good. This is the thing. From clarity comes the confidence to be able to assert yourself in the marketplace in a powerful way. The reason why your messaging isn't connecting, the reason why your messaging isn't connecting and your post isn't close to getting you the deals that you need and the revenue that you need and what you require and what you desire in your business and in your life is because your clarity is off. And sometimes for this, we have to go inside of ourselves, not outside of ourselves. Sometimes, like Bobby just said, a guided meditation, sometimes you need to hear a voice outside that directs you within and helps you to cut off distractions. I tell people this all the time. I say the highest valued use of a CEO is their thinking. And then when you come inside of our process and a process and a process, because it's layered, we teach you a 3P framework. Now, we know productivity and performance is high, extremely high. And purpose, your purpose for being here, your family, your commitments, your charity, your churches, all of those things are extremely high. But many people undervalue the power of preparation. Thinking time. Thinking time when you sit by yourself without outside distraction and you eliminate all attempts or possibilities of distraction. And you close yourself out from outside influences and you just think. See, guys, we work out all the time. Everybody talks about the weight they're losing and working the muscle and all that, but the brain is a muscle. The brain is a muscle, and many times we don't use that. It's been in my quietest moments that the greatest clarity has come. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity brings confidence. Clarity brings confidence. And you need to go to that internal spark for that. Because you know, even though you got all kinds of different decisions and ideas and all the different things a person wants to, I was speaking with somebody yesterday. Let me just give you a real true to life analogy of what it looks like. And most of you will probably be able to resonate as you're entrepreneurs, business owners, and CEOs. Individual said, I've got so many things going on. I said, what do you want to do? He said, I'm not really sure because I've got so many things going on, so many skills, so many ideas going on that I can't think. That's what the person said. I can't think, which means you can't concentrate, you can't focus, and you can't make decisions. When you can't focus, you can't concentrate, and you can't make decisions, you're lost. You might be right where you need to be. You might be around familiar surroundings, but you can't think. You can't concentrate. You can't focus. So you can't see. You're just doing stuff. You're just doing stuff. The greatest gift that I could possibly give anyone through coaching, through speaking, through consulting is clarity. Clarity. I didn't have that for Bobby to say. I just know the highest value resource, and I know the source of his revenue growth. Clarity. Does he know it all? Is it all there? No. But just like the butterfly, it's in a process. We're all in a process. And I want you to ask yourself, like, where am I? You, not me. Where are you in the process?
Yeah. This is great. This is great. I'm thinking about all of the lessons I've learned. And one of the things I was thinking about yesterday is the fool is always wise in his own eyes. That's what I was thinking about. Now, I believe that thought was sparked by something I read as a child or that I've learned in church. It really resonates with me like it's a proverb. So I'm not going to say I'm the originator of this thought. By no means is that likely. But I think the way it is in the Bible is they say it that the wise individual seeks counsel, and the individual that is flattered by his own thinking has no desire to improve. And that's kind of how the Bible puts it. So I just sum it up and say the fool is wise in his own eyes. And what I think is so important about that is if we don't acknowledge ignorance, it becomes folly. You know, because if you know that you don't know something, I think it was Socrates who said, one of my greatest discoveries was knowing that I didn't know what I didn't know. It was like a discovery for him. And the moment he realized that, he always went through life with this humble approach to learning things. But the reason I wanted to put this out there is because there's so much to know and to learn about business that there's no reason for any of us, in my opinion, to ever be, arrogant, ever to be so big-headed that we don't feel like there's anything for us to learn, because the moment we get into that space, we get constrained. It's a very common, cliche, so to speak. The man who knows it all can't learn a thing. Like, we know these things, we hear these things all the time, but I was, checked very beautifully, because it's good. It's good to be checked recently about just, when you make progress and you're around individuals that haven't made, say, progress in a specific area that you have, it's very easy to say, you know what, that person's not doing something. But the reality is, at one point in time, you weren't either. So to bring this to a head, very, very simply, get an outside look, get a second opinion, get a coach, get a mirror. And I know I took us down the long road to get there, but I wanted to give you so many different points of reference that it becomes undeniable that trying to scale yourself and business without an outside opinion is much like Michael Jordan trying to become Michael Jordan without a coach, without someone really saying, Michael, pass the ball more. You're great, but teams, championships, you want the ring, man, you got to learn how to do this. So as good as he was, some will say he didn't win any championships without Scotty. And to his tribute, that's true. And he had to learn to win as a team. So I say that to say this: no matter how good you are, talented you are, dedicated you are, there's something that coaches bring to the table that all elite athletes have learned to respect in elite individuals in any competitive sport and or environment.
That was uncomparable advice, right? And the reason why I put that question back up there, now I said I was going to answer that question momentarily, but you just did. You just did. Literally, like Bobby just answered that question. What one tip would I give someone who is seeking clarity? You have to, absolutely must, do whatever you can to make the right kind of investment. Make the investment comparable with where you want to go, like what your goals are. Some people say, well, I want to make this much of an investment. If you want to make this much of an investment, you're only going to go far about this much. if you want to change the world, then you got to make the world of a difference kind of investment. Right? So I've been in college for the past 10 plus years. I didn't get one master's degree. I got 3 of them. I'm not in one doctorate. I'm in 2 of them. The entire time I'm here doing what I'm doing, I still have outside inputs because I don't know everything. And not only did I do formal education, I did non-formal as well. So it's very likely that everybody that you know and look up to is probably here. Probably in my phone. Probably accessible at the quickest notice. Why? Because I would be a fool to think that as far as I've come, I know everything about where I'm going. I'd be so slow to think that. I'd be so arrogant to think that. So so the first step, Luana, to get us to where Bobby is, to get us to what Bobby said, because you can't say I'm going to get a coach if you're not humble first. So humble yourself. And then go quietly within yourself. Steal some thinking time, guys. Steal some thinking time so that you can really do an internal excavation or introspection, or have some internal dialogue and do an internal x-ray and be quiet and listen to the examples that come. And I guarantee you the advice that will come is you need help. You need help. You need help. I need help. Like, you need help. And then make the investment, the size of the investment, correlate the size of the change that you want to make in this world and in your life. Don't be afraid of the investment. If you're afraid of the investment, then you're afraid of transformation. You're afraid of what you can become. And most people say, I mean, when you get to one of the most ultimate phrases that are used all the time is that you're not really fearful of anything but the success that you can have. You're scared of your own success because you don't understand the magnitude. You can't see yourself in that picture. That's kind of like the caterpillar when it's wondering what's taking place inside of it. However, it still knows what to do. Internally, it knows what to do. So internally, you know what to do. Increase your investment to the size of the change that you want to see in the world and that you want to make in your life. And you have to get an outside perspective. Pilots of planes have a connection. They have a connection to the air traffic control who tells them exactly where they're at and keeps correcting their course so they can get where they need to be. And yes, they have internal controls inside of the cockpit, but they were put there by somebody. And technology works for a big portion. Like, technology works. HubSpot works. AI works. ChatGPT works. I'm sure. Yeah, great. But watch this. Even though the air pilot has all of these different dials and controls and monitors and graphs, they still have the voice of the person on the ground who can course correct them and tell them exactly where they're going. So they have what? What do they gain? What does the pilot gain? Bobby, I'm gonna ask you this. In real time, what does the pilot gain when he hears the air traffic control telling him something?
I would say, again, clarity, peace.
Good. You're right, 1000%. The pilot who's in charge of all of the lives, your family's life, your legacy's life, your community's life, the pilot who's in control of all of these lives, here's the air traffic controller telling him you're on course or off, and they gain clarity. And because they have clarity, they gain confidence.
This is amazing.
This has been another edition of the Breakfast with the Brand, guys. This is what we're trying to provide you with: clarity so you can have confidence. And Bobby's here as an example, like opening the vault, opening the, the spreadsheet and letting you know what the results are monetarily. He said, go over those percentages of investments again and how your investments dropped and your results exceeded. Go over those numbers again before we go. We're out of here. Let's go. Listen and pay attention, guys. Pay very, very close attention.
That first investment was just 4 figures. That's all it was, 4-figure investment. The next investment after that I had to increase the investment 400%. And my revenue increased 400%. The next investment, I increased 200%. My revenue did not increase 200%. It increased 400%. And then, because my investments are getting bigger, loftier, the next thing I did was invested an additional 20%. And when I invested an additional 20%, my revenue grew another 400%. So the interesting thing here is 400% grew at 400%, then 200% grew at 400%, then 20% increase in investment grew the increase in revenue 400%. So I am very confident that if I increase this investment to whatever is required, be it 50%, 200%, 100%, 30%, like whatever it is, this number at 400% is only going to go up. And that's really inspiring. It creates a lot of confidence in me that I'm trusting the right tower. Like I'm flying this plane and I've got good people on the ground.
Clarity, confidence. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Same time, same place. Let's grow. I really do care. I just a disclaimer. I really do care how you feel, but I care how you feel in the long term, not in the short term.